Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Cyberattacks on U.S. water facilities. Contempt charges unveiled against Anthony Fauci. Chipotle faces another health crisis, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. A deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could come within days, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Tuesday, sending oil prices lower after more than 5 months of war with Iran. President Trump said he's giving Iran a last chance before a far bigger strike. Tehran and Oman are negotiating new routes, plus a service fee on ships that the White House flatly rejected. The strait remains dangerous. A cargo ship was abandoned Tuesday after being struck near Oman, the fourth vessel attacked since Friday. Meanwhile, sources familiar with U.S. weapons data told Reuters that the U.S. has burned through virtually all of its long-range precision missiles in the conflict, along with nearly half its global supply of Tomahawks, raising alarms about America's readiness for a future conflict with Russia or China. In response to the report, the Pentagon insisted the military has everything it needs. Federal authorities reported cyberattacks against water and wastewater facilities in at least 7 states. Minnesota recorded attacks against 30 water systems. The incident caused low water pressure and prompted some utilities to issue boil water notices. No drinking water contamination has been reported. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency warned that attackers are targeting utilities of different sizes. Internet-connected operational systems allowed intruders to change passwords and lock out operators. The agency advised affected utilities to disconnect systems from the internet and switch to manual operation. The FBI opened an investigation, but federal law enforcement and cybersecurity agencies have not publicly identified the group responsible or formally attributed the attacks to a foreign government. CISA previously warned about Iranian-affiliated targeting of internet-connected operational technology used by critical infrastructure. Senator Rand Paul has released his contempt resolution against Dr. Anthony Fauci after his contentious hearing on Capitol Hill last week. Fauci pleaded the fifth 111 times as Paul and other GOP members on the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee sought to grill him about the origins and handling of the coronavirus. President Joe Biden preemptively pardoned Fauci in January 2025 as he left office in hopes of short-circuiting political prosecutions against the longtime health official. Guatemala remained on alert Tuesday after evacuating villages during an eruption of the Fuego volcano, one of Central America's most active. About 1,700 people remained in shelters with the evacuations to stay in place until conditions improve, according to the country's disaster agency, CONRED. Officials raised the alert level to red in regions where about 29,000 people are affected by ashfall and schools remain closed. Authorities warned the next 72 hours were critical on Tuesday as mudflows up to 4.3 miles long continued descending from the volcano, with incoming rain expected to increase the risk of additional volcanic mudflows. Chipotle faces another health scare. The restaurant chain announced Tuesday it removed jalapeños from some restaurants after identifying the ingredient as a potential common link in a Salmonella outbreak that public health officials are investigating. The move comes after the Wall Street Journal reported that Minnesota health officials are investigating an outbreak of Salmonella associated with jalapeños served at Mexican-style quick-service restaurants, with Chipotle a focus of the investigation. According to the Journal, the Minnesota Department of Health has identified 110 cases of Salmonella tied to the outbreak. Of the 84 people interviewed by the health department after becoming ill, 89% reported eating at Chipotle between mid-June and last month. SpaceX reported better than expected revenue for the second quarter in the company's first earnings report since its record IPO in June. The stock dropped in extended trading as capital expenditures soared. Revenue jumped 92% from $4.1 billion a year earlier, SpaceX said in a statement on Tuesday, while the company's net loss narrowed to $541 million from $1 billion. It's the first time for Elon Musk's reusable rocket maker to face Wall Street in this capacity, and investors are jittery. Since opening at $150 on June 12th, SpaceX's stock has dropped by 16% as of Tuesday's close. The S&P 500 and Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at record highs Tuesday as technology and industrial shares advanced. The S&P 500 rose 1.8% to 7,736.52. The Dow gained 1.7% to end at 54,085.88. The Nasdaq Composite increased 2.6% to 26,584.99. Palantir shares rose nearly 30% after the company increased its annual revenue forecast. Caterpillar advanced after raising its revenue growth forecast. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index gained nearly 7%. Oil prices fell more than 5% as officials reported progress in efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude settled at $79.36 per barrel. U.S. crude settled at $75.77. Shipping traffic through Hormuz remained limited. That's the Raw Naked Truth for August 5th, 2026. Remember to like and subscribe to the Raw Naked Truth wherever you listen to podcasts. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.